Well, it's time for episode 394 of the 3 Point Podcast. We're presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. Make sure you get in shape with a membership today. And also, they were just named one of the top employers in America by a publication out of New York. So congratulations to Memorial. Over 1,800 employees, the biggest employer here in our area. And they just got a great thing going on there. And, everybody that works there seems to all have great attitudes, and, they take care of you well, too. So we're glad they're on board.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate them, of course. I always, when we share stuff on our Facebook page of their, classes and their class schedule and some of their reels of their classes, I always wonder, do you catch those? Are you ever going to get one of the Zumba or the Aqua?
Oh, you mean have I personally participated?
Yeah.
No, I haven't quite got there yet.
Okay.
His locker there is collecting cobwebs.
Well, yesterday was a step in the right direction because, I have a trip coming up, and I wanted to make sure that my hip would survive. So I set it up with my hip doctor to get me a cortisone shot. So they shot me up just like Wyatt Bauer, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you're like an NFL player.
Absolutely.
Has it been bothering you? Is it the one you got replaced, or is it the other one?
No, it's the other one. I got to get it replaced this spring or summer. I've set the wheels in motion, but I wanted to get through. I got a couple of trips coming up, so I want to make sure sitting on the plane as an old man that I'm not too uncomfortable and be able to walk too. So it's been bothering me. So
were you like, wow, this stuff really freaking works?
Well, it was one side effect last night. I had it yesterday afternoon, and I could not go to sleep. I don't know if it messed up my system. And usually when I hit the pillow, I'm out like 10 minutes later. And I was just laying there for about 2 hours before I fell asleep. But the long-term thing's going to be good. Also, I should jump back into who else is helping us out on this podcast. We got AZee Branding Solutions, Blackstones Public House. As a matter of fact, I'm heading out there tonight. There's kind of a soft opening for certain community members, and then it opens officially tomorrow. So it's going to be a cool deal. Also, Great Lakes Apparel Company. I stopped in there this week, did a full tour with the two owners, and it's a great setup there. Can't wait to get some gear done. Also want to thank Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Nichols Painting, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, and ALS of Michigan. And by the way, our sponsor spotlight today is Shiawassee's County Fair. They've been in operation since 1850. The fair has something for everyone and built an astonishing reputation for providing the best county fair they can for their friends and community. Friends, family, and fun. That's what they say. It's the Shiawassee County Fair. More details, 989-743-3611, or go online at shiawasseefair.com. Well, guys, we're going to be hooking up with Jeff Kimmerly of the MHSAA coming up here shortly, but the big catch-up really is weather related. It's been, February, especially down where you guys are living, it was like major turmoil, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, going into last weekend was the big storm that came through, and people were tracking it all week. And I mean, you give the weather people credit because they're going off models and trend, the stuff that they know of all the stuff that they've studied with, what's happening in the atmosphere and everything like that. So they can't be exact all the time. But earlier in the week, the weather guys down here were saying this was going to be catastrophic and using words like that, like crippling and stuff. And, you appreciate it because you want people to be prepared. You don't want people to not be prepared and then all of a sudden get hit with a storm and they're stranded and stuff. But, when people start using that, and especially now with social media stuff shared on Facebook and, whatever other social media, it like catches fire, and the panic around town is just crazy. Grocery stores, shelves are empty, people buying generators, people buying all this other like camping gear, and just, so we, and then you start thinking like, if you're not doing that, man, should we go out and get a few things? Like, you try not to be one of the people panicking, but you start thinking like, man, we probably should get a few things and be prepared. So we did, we bought a bunch of the non-perishable food, and the canned fruit and, some other stuff that we could have. But we were at a store. I was going to tell a story. So anyway, long story short, the storm, at least in South Charlotte, ended up not being as bad as they expected. We got a little bit of snow and some ice, and it's been cold. But the ice wasn't as bad here as expected. It did hit some other areas. But one quick story, we went over to Walmart because we were like, we wanted to get a little propane tank for our camp stove. We wanted to maybe get a couple other little things. And I couldn't help but laugh. There was this lady. We were in the camp section, like the outdoor sporting goods section at Walmart, and this lady was climbing up on the shelves and pulling stuff down the shelves. And I was kind of looking. I was looking to see if they had like little propane heaters, like
Right.
little heaters that we could maybe have. So I'm sitting there. I'm kind of watching her, seeing what she's doing, and you could tell she is frantic, and she's pulling these boxes down and she's ripping them open, looking at them, and she looks at everyone. She's like, headlamps, everyone. I've got headlamps. And I just couldn't, like, I kind of chuckled, and we just kind of said like, okay. And I just kind of thought in my head, like, I mean, yeah, everyone, you have your flashlights and you have your, whatever candles and stuff like that. But I just thought, headlamps, like, what do you think is about to happen? Is this like some Last of Us zombie apocalypse type of thing about to happen? So hopefully she got her headlamps and got home. But anyway, that kind of made me chuckle.
Probably worried about getting to the bathroom, and being able to see getting in there. I don't know.
Right. Or yeah, I guess if you're trying to cook
and
it's pitch black, you wear a headlamp. It makes sense, but it made me laugh.
Yeah, those crazy ladies, we laugh at them until, and I think about this every time there's a big storm, we laugh at them until doomsday actually is here, and they're the ones that are prepared, and the entire power dynamic of our world basically shifts, where those kind of wackos are the ones that are in power now, and the ones that you're begging for food and begging for protection. So It is funny, and I'm with you. People do go crazy over these storms. I mean, same thing in Texas. People thought we were getting hammered, but it just comes down to, I mean, you'd never know when that power is going to be out for a week, when it's going to be out, for an hour. And I didn't prepare for it. If we went out for a week, I'd be screwed right now. So it's just one of those things where you'd rather be safe than sorry. Maybe the headlamps is a little overboard, but I can respect those type of preppers.
We grew up in Michigan. I still live in Michigan. Dealing with snow and cold, no big deal. It's the ice for sure. Right. I mean, the ice is the killer. And I'll never forget, it was probably 10 years ago, maybe a little farther than that. We had the huge ice storm up here where power was out for a week. I mean, it forced me to change my whole motive of being prepared at the house. That forced me to buy a generator. Can't go a week without heat and electricity. You just can't.
Yeah, I remember that ice storm. I had already moved to Connecticut, but I came back home for the holidays, and it was right around that ice storm, and it was a big deal because, like you said, power was out. People are scrambling around trying to find generators, and it's not just like the power. You think about your refrigerator, your food, and stuff. But in the winter, when you don't have heat, I mean, it can get cold quick in your house, and if you don't have a fireplace or a wood burning stove or something like that. So yeah, it's funny, the people that are going crazy, but you're right, Jared, the people with the generator, the people with the camp stove, whatever stuff they have, they're the ones that are prepared, and they're like, yeah, everyone come on over, my house is just fine.
Halfway to being a doomsdayer, right? Stock up on the water and everything else. Well, I'll never forget that.
Ted, is your generator, does it power your whole house, or is it just like maybe your fridge and a couple of things?
No, it powers the whole house. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's not a Generac. I'm not that kind. I don't have that kind of money like some people. Joking, but I can run my generator on a full tank of gas for about 6 or 7 hours. So if you fill it up before you go to bed, at least you're going to be warm all night long. And now back to that storm a few years ago, I'll never forget coming home and standing out with my garage door wide open and just hearing crack and branches just falling everywhere. It was an eerie night. I know that.
Oh, I remember. I remember that exact thing. I told my wife about that at my parents' house. We were sitting there, same thing. It was just like there's nothing you could do. It was pretty crazy. So
move the vehicles.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a big podcast for everybody out there. Coming up next, we have Jeff Kimmerly, the Director of Communications at the Michigan High School Athletic Association in Lansing. He's going to answer all our questions on the new high school so-called NIL, coming up right after this. Well, we're joined next on the Prep Spotlight, a special Prep Spotlight by Jeff Kimmerly, the Director of Communications at the Michigan High School Athletic Association over in Lansing. And Jeff, first of all, thanks for joining us on late notice, but we wanted to get you on for the breakdown of the big news that Michigan high schools now will follow the college's NIL rule for pay for athletes. Now, it's definitely a little different version. The MHSAA version is called Personal Branding Activities, or PBA. Not to be confused with the Professional Bowlers Association, but let's start beginning of the idea, the process to get it approved, and now becoming a reality. Kind of set the stage for us.
Well, and let me, first off say, I think part of the confusion this morning, now that we're through a day of this, is people really aren't understanding that it's nothing like the college rule.
Right.
Oh, good clarification.
There are some things that are allowed now for individuals, individual opportunities for individual student athletes, but it's not any kind of pay to play high school sports by any stretch.
Mhm.
This really started about 5 years ago. Obviously, NIL was coming to colleges very quickly. The NCAA was making changes. Some high schools, not schools necessarily, high school associations, other states were beginning to bring similar rules into their associations, and we were really one of the last states to have something like this. We always allowed a few things. We allowed camps and clinics, and you could give lessons, things like that. That would be considered under the NIL umbrella, I suppose.
Right.
And people considered us as a partial NIL state in some circles, but we were, I think we're the 47th state to formally adopt a little bit more of an expanded branding opportunity. So again, 5 years ago, this stuff was coming up. We were talking about it a little bit. 3 years ago, there was a bill in the Michigan House that would have done basically a lot of what this rule change does now. That bill stalled, but we had a lot of input with the bill sponsor in terms of, again, writing that so it would be individual opportunities for individual athletes. And so that has remained our philosophy throughout. The last 3 years, we have talked to basically every school group within our membership about this, about what we saw happening in other states, how it was being interpreted, how things were going, how much of an effect it was having, and have come to a point now where we were comfortable with a policy that we could put forward. And that's the policy that you received, that you saw in the press releases and has been all over the media. And that is, again, it doesn't allow for anything that resembles a group activity. No collectives, no what we're seeing at the college level where everybody that comes to this school or plays on this team gets a certain amount. This is what NIL was supposed to be when it was video games and jerseys, when this first started. This is allowing a student to make money on that student's own for endorsements or merchandise sales or autograph sessions or anything that might be a result of having a personal brand.
Right.
Being a known person in that space. And honestly, at the high school level, we don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that.
Right.
There might be some small things locally that happen. We might have a few that have some national recognition, but what we're hearing from other states is it's the smallest of fractions of a percent, and it has not affected what they do in the high school sports space whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing people think about. They see what's happening in college athletics right now, and it's basically pay for play. I mean, it's the Wild West with the transfer portal also, which is obviously different than the high school level. But people getting basically offered contracts to come and transfer to this school. And I think that's what people are probably concerned about, or that's what people are like, oh man, our kids just going to start transferring from school to school because they have some rich, alum or something that's paying kids to come to their school. And basically you're saying that's not what this is. This is, do a couple ad reads on the radio or do a couple social media posts and stuff and make some money off of your name, image, and likeness, what it was always intended to be. How are you guys going to make sure, or what kind of policies or thoughts you guys have in place to make sure the pay for play doesn't start happening?
So every one of these needs to be disclosed to the MHSAA within 7 days of an agreement being signed or an opportunity being agreed to, and they have to be approved by the MHSAA. So anything that resembles any sort of influential sort of opportunity that would sway a family to change schools or to go play for a certain coach, obviously those are not going to be approved. Our transfer rules are completely intact. Our links rules completely intact. Our undue influence recruiting rules are completely intact. Nothing has changed on those things. This is basically the same thing that a student at a school could do if they were a good actor, or I'm trying to think of another example there, but good at some other activity,
Right.
perhaps a good singer, a good dancer, whatever. This is similar to that, and so we have all of these safeguards in place. Not only that we have to approve everything, but we have pretty significant criteria of what's allowed, what's not allowed. We have pretty significant criteria of who's allowed to be involved in securing these opportunities. Nobody involved with the school, nobody who has been a donor to the school, to a certain level, nobody who has any sort of influence over a school is allowed to be part of this. And really that takes out a lot of people that I think most in the general public are afraid could use this, to a negative extent. We're confident that, especially because we've waited to be one of the last states to do this, we're confident that we've gone through the best practices of everybody else, and we've really threaded a needle here.
Do you think, like, with talking with the other states that have already passed this, is this essentially a rule that, like you said, it's the 0.3% of people? Is it? It's like the Bryce Underwoods. It's the guys who have a million followers on Instagram because they're a top recruit. Is that pretty much the type of player that you would expect this kind of affecting, essentially?
I think anything big money, absolutely, it's going to be your 5-star athlete, somebody who is recognized nationally already. And when I say recognized, it's the ones who are recognized by probably the people who follow recruiting and things like that the most. It's not so much, the star quarterback at your local high school. Now, what we might see there is something more local, something, a local business or whatever offering a much smaller amount of money to be part of a commercial, or like you said, do an ad read or something like that. There could be a little bit of that. We don't know. It's hard to say, right? But other states are not seeing it. Honestly, a friend of mine in Illinois that I talked to a few weeks ago, I asked him because I trust him, and said this hasn't changed anything about what they do in terms of school sports. And that's important because I spent a lot of time yesterday trying to assure people we're going to protect competitive equity with everything that we have.
Right.
That's been a staple of the MHSAA for 101 years. That's not going away. We are going to continue to make educational athletics our mission. We have 180,000 student athletes in the state. If 179,970 of them are not getting NIL, obviously we have a mission there that's still very important. So we're trying to help people understand that this is not. I get it. You say I have stopped being a fan of college sports for the most part. I respect some things that happen at some places because I think they're trying to do it the right way. But by and large, I think a lot of the money has ruined that whole thing. That's not what we're looking at here.
Yeah, we have opinions on the NCAA for sure, but you guys seem to have a little better handle on control of things. And speaking of control, now, what is the admin process? I mean, does the athlete go to the athletic director? The athletic director submits it to the MHSAA. Walk us through that.
And I'm glad you brought up the athletic director, because this is an important point that I was going to answer for another question that you asked, and it kind of left my head there for a minute. Nothing identifying with educational athletics or a school can be used in any of these promotions. You can't use the name of your school. You can't wear your jersey. It can't be at school facilities. It can't happen during the school day or during practice time or during a game. This has to be a third-party thing happening during third-party time, and with no relation to school sports. The process, really the only place where an athletic director needs to be involved is making sure that nothing is going on that it would break any of these rules or blur any of these rules. But honestly, there's a form on our website. We have an NIL page that explains everything pretty specifically of what's allowed and what's not. And there's a form that within 7 days of signing a contract or accepting an opportunity, the athlete or family needs to fill out that says, this is what we're doing. Submits it to us, we approve it or we deny it, and there we go.
So basically, it's the athlete and his parents submitting online to the MHSAA. Is that what it is?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm sure the athletic director will say, hey, you need to make sure to do this.
Right.
Because, we're saying if a school is not following the right things, their membership could be at stake. Just like if an athlete isn't doing the things that athlete needs to do, that athlete's eligibility is at stake.
Right.
I imagine you also have a general outline on what are the do's and don'ts. Like you can't have Jimmy say, hey, I want to be sponsored by Joe's Bar and Grill.
Yeah, there's obviously nothing with Joe's Bar and Grill is a restaurant. You may be able to do, that's maybe not the best example, but yeah, obviously there's nothing with alcohol, tobacco, firearms.
Okay.
The general stuff, the stuff
Right.
that everybody would,
Is
would
aware of.
understand for high school kids sort of things. Gambling and gaming, things like that. So
No, that's some good clarification too, because I think some people were wondering, is this like an added thing to the athletic director's plate? And it sounds like not necessarily. They can be there to answer some questions and make sure, if the athlete, hey, is this allowed? Or if the athlete asks, like, can I do this in our gymnasium? Then maybe, the athletic director can answer some of those questions. So that's some good clarification too. I don't know if the other guys have any other NIL questions. While we have you, though, I wanted to ask you a little bit of a different question.
Okay.
Alabama recently passed. They're doing a split with public and private schools when it comes to postseason. Right. And I see your reaction immediately. That's a topic during football season. It seems to come up a lot. I know it probably is during other seasons, but during football season, it's a topic of discussion a lot. Is the public-private school split something you guys talk about? Is it just not even feasible for the MHSAA, or what maybe are a couple little notes that you have on that topic?
There absolutely, there is always conversation around football season in the greater public, and of course that conversation makes its way into our building as well, and our coaches associations talk about it, and our school people talk about it. There's a lot more to that whole conversation than just saying, let's split public and private schools up. I think you're going to find in Alabama that this is going to be a lot more complicated than just making a decision. I think once courts and legislatures and everybody else are involved, we'll see what actually does happen down there. Almost all of the states in the country have their public and private schools together in one association. There are a few that separate championships, but by and large, they either just do things apples to apples, like we do in Michigan, or there are a handful that have some sort of success multiplier, things like that. So obviously we're watching what's happening in Alabama, just like we watched, I think it was Ohio that added a multiplier a few years ago, some other states. It's certainly a topic that comes up, and obviously we have representation from public and private schools on our council, so there's always conversation there as well. We're stay tuned, I guess, is the best thing on that to say. This isn't going to just be as simple as making a decision for a state. And although during football season, especially, we hear about that around here, you hear about it in some other sports a little bit, but not nearly as much as during football. So, but to answer your original question, yeah, absolutely. Of course, we hear those conversations quite a bit.
What percentage of mail do you guys get that's basically entirely on that topic? Private, is that 80% of the things people complain about?
It's hard to say. I think we get a lot more. Again, it has to do with the time of the year. Right after football finals. Generally, this year was a bit of an exception, but generally, our champions in all sports aren't exactly our percentage of public and private schools in Michigan, but they're not that far off.
Right.
And we've tried to present that data to people over and over and over again. obviously this past year we had a significant number of non-public schools win football championships, and so that brings that up. But
Right.
I would say we get much more mail, figuratively speaking or literally,
Yeah,
Right.
on transfers, and
makes sense.
why we don't let people just go wherever they want to, whenever they want to. And again, that all goes down to guarding that competitive equity that
Right.
we've held so dear to, and really is the thing that we cannot bend on here.
Yeah.
I was a little bit intrigued by seeing the Alabama, plan with 6 public schools and 2 private. I'm not sure how that would work out exactly in Michigan, but it would keep it at the 8 state championship level in football. I don't know what the population in Alabama is compared to the Michigan population of players either, but it's definitely food for thought, and it's obviously a hot topic in football season.
Well, and the interesting thing is, and I've always said this, and don't get me wrong, I understand where people are coming from. I think the interesting thing about it is you can't put every public school in one bucket as being the same. Some have school of choice and open enrollment, some don't. Some have it limited, some have it full. It's all over the place, right?
Right.
Not every non-public school is the same thing.
Right.
Portland St. Patrick and Oakland Christian in Auburn Hills are not the same as a bigger school that plays in a bigger league. It's just it's a lot different than just saying apples and apples and oranges and oranges. And that's part of our job here, is to figure out how to make all of that make sense. And we come here every day trying to do it.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, we appreciate you coming on and giving us the straight skinny. It is a big, hot topic. And as you know, we follow high school sports very closely here at 3 Point Podcast. Before we let you go, just maybe any other final thoughts you have on the new PBA rule in place?
I think just the lasting thought would be, for people who are really interested in this, please, and anybody, honestly, that has an opinion on it, please read what we're actually allowing.
Right.
Please realize that this is not what is going on at the college level. This is not a pay-for-play model. It just isn't what it is. We have really tried to thread a needle here to allow athletes to capitalize on some opportunities if they have them, while not letting that bring down all the things that we love about school sports.
Right.
And so I would preach patience, and hopefully we can continue to explain to our people as we move forward how this is different and why we feel as though we've done the best that we can to keep things intact.
Well, we appreciate the work you guys do, yourself included, especially being a part of the 3 Point Podcast posse. I'm sure you got to get to another interview or two today. The winter sports are winding down a little bit now that we're heading into February. So hopefully I'll see you back at Breslin this year and one of our local teams makes it.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys there.
All right, guys. As always, good talking with Jeff. And we usually don't get him on live. We usually have him on for our prep football pigskin preview. But it was good to get the direct answers that everybody is questioning. What's going on with this? Everybody's going to be transferring, blah, blah, blah. I thought it gave a good light on what's happening.
Yeah, I think he laid it out really well. Their press release and the article on their website did also, but you know how it goes on social media, and nowadays they see NIL approved. People think about what's going on in college, and they just think big donors and big alums and big business people are going to start paying the star athletes at your high school to transfer over to some other school. And, it sounds like they've done their homework with states that already have this going on. And they've seen that that's not necessarily the thing that's going on. It's the, like you said, Jared, it's the Bryce Underwoods that have millions of followers, doing some social media endorsements and, stuff like that. So I think that's what's good to clear up. This isn't pay for play. This is, if you want to run a camp in the summer, if you're a golfer, if you want to run a camp for the youth and teach some kids how to golf, cool, do it. And, make some money. If you want to run a camp, whatever it is, an ad read, I think that's cool. If it stays that and doesn't start bleeding into what's happening in college football and college sports, I think that's awesome. Because if Jared Fattel can get a few $100 from Jacobs Insurance to do some social media posts on Friday before a football game, and tell everyone, hey, go to Jacobs Insurance. That's my go-to spot for insurance, and make a few $100. I think that's cool,
Yeah. Well, the point you made, though, was very interesting that I didn't even think about. You can't say I'm Jared Fattel of the Corunna Cavaliers. You can't tie that into it, which that might be a good safeguard, I think.
Yep.
It's funny how this is like the last state to do it. It just shows you how much of basically a nothing burger this whole thing is,
right?
And people will overreact.
Of course,
it's going to affect maybe one person in the state of Michigan per year. A Bryce Underwood, some random girls soccer player that has 1 million, TikTok followers. That's the type of people that it's going to benefit. I'd be shocked if it's actually any of the Jacobs Insurance type deals and 3 Point Podcast type deals. The only thing that's funny to me is the idea that we would sponsor an athlete and let's go poach a top quarterback in the Shiawassee County and bring him to Corunna. You can't do that.
No.
The idea of that is hilarious. I don't know if that would even happen. I mean, I would be curious what type of money would even swing a kid to come, join a different school like that when they've grown up in a certain community or something like that. So it's a funny idea. It's more so where the imagination goes with people with this type of thing. As for the other big news was the Alabama thing. And we've talked about, actually, as soon as that went through, the Alabama private versus public thing, I had somebody text me, oh, this is 3 Point Podcast, explicit word, starting with a P. And I know you guys ate it up. I mean, you guys know where I stand on the private versus public. If it ever does happen, I don't hate the idea of maybe a multiplier, like you mentioned in Ohio, where maybe a team, their enrollment is 1.5 higher than what they actually are, or something like that. I think that would make sense to me, but anything more than that, I think is overreacting and kind of ruins the entire state of athletics, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with both points a little bit. I think something needs to be done different. Maybe you're right. Maybe the Ohio plan is the best way. I don't know. Like I said with Jeff, I didn't think the Alabama plan was all that bad with 6 public and 2 private, but there's a lot of work that has to be done on that. The other thing I disagree with you on is the PBA thing. I mean, I think you think it's just going to be these big elite athletes getting big money, but if I'm a kid in a local area, why not make a few bucks if you reach out to an advertiser, a local advertiser, and get $100? What's wrong with
that? I guess who I just don't see that situation. I don't see.
I think. Do you mean what business would do that?
What kid in let's just take Shiawassee County for example. What kid has had that type of cachet that it's worth it for a business? It's almost just like a business being nice to a kid. Hey, you're a family friend. I'll let's have you. Which I don't even think that'll happen. I just don't think it's as lucrative a business as I guess people are leading.
Right. I think one thing I definitely I can see both of your guys' points. One thing it could do is it could push some athletes. Let's just use recency bias. The Bauer brothers, for us Corunna Cavalier fans, they were pretty big athletes, obviously stars, now starring at Ferris State. It could push some athletes that are on that edge to now do more with their social media. Like, hey,
right.
If I could make a few bucks, okay, I'm seeing what Bryce Underwood has 1 million Instagram followers. Okay, maybe I'm not going to get to that, but I could start doing more on social media, go to some of these local businesses and be like, hey, I'll do a post a week. I'll do a post game post and I'll, plug your business or whatever. And I'll try to grow my social media, which then helps you, it could do something like that. I mean, I think even, right. The millions and thousands of dollars, maybe it won't turn into that, but why not? I mean, I think it'd be cool to go to a Main Street Pizza and say, hey, listen, I'll do a review a week on your pizza if you give me pizza for a year. Give me, the small deals like that. Obviously, I'm not talking about millions of dollars, that some of these other guys will get. But sure, why not do something like that? That's where some guys could make a little bit of money and help grow their brand a little bit. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I think you said it well when you were talking about the college standards for nil. It's the freaking Wild West, man. There's no control over it right now, and I don't see it ending. It has kind of. Yeah, we watch the games, we enjoy the games, but all the behind the scenes stuff and the way it's all set up, I'm not a big fan of it. Hopefully it'll get straightened out.
Well, I mean, kind of what Jeff said, or I guess he told us, we were talking off air a little bit, but like Dabo Sweeney,
Yeah.
I think it's going to start, coaches or someone's going to have to start airing out the dirty laundry for it to really change,
Right.
So Dabo maybe is getting that ball rolling.
Well, here in the prep spotlight, we got one final thing, guys. I just had to point this out. I did have a few other things, but we had Jeff on as a special guest today. Reached out to him last night, and I was so glad he was able to join us. The 3 Point Podcast Prep Spotlight Performance of the Week. Well, big win by the Owasso Trojans last Friday night, 64-54 over Goodrich. Ari Dallas and Colt Pepin each had 14 points, and I got the biggest kick out of seeing in the locker room after the game. They gave old Coach Dave Owens a water bucket shower after the game, and he was pumped up. And I will say this, that is a big win for the Trojans, man. Beating Goodrich by 10 at home. What a night that must have been at the warehouse, and probably would have had even a bigger crowd if we didn't have weather conditions up here.
Huge win, man. I mean, it is crazy to think that that's when you reach, I guess, elite status as a program and as a school brand where coaches are getting Gatorade showers in a regular season win. I mean, is that like the first time Owasso's beaten Goodrich in probably like 20 years? Like, is that an exaggeration?
I don't know if that is an exaggeration. It's been a long, long time. I haven't looked it up, but you're probably dead on.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
Probably the 90s.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I can look it up later, but we won't have time here on the podcast. But a big win, and even the Wasso's record at 6-6 overall and 3-3 in the Flint Metro League. So congrats to Dave Owens and his squad. Any suggestions for the prep spotlight can be emailed over to me at tedfattel@gmail.com or hit us up on our social media at 3 Point Pod if you want to see somebody highlighted in the prep spotlight, brought to you by Jacobs Insurance, our great sponsor. All right, let's take another break and let's get back and talk about. Let's start with college basketball. We're recording this on Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. A couple big games in the Big Ten. We'll be right back after this. All right, guys, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch both games, the majority of one game, some of the other, but I watched all the Michigan game in its entirety against Nebraska. First off, my first thought process was, man, these Cornhuskers can shoot, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Fred Hoiberg has them playing well. You watch them play, and it's crisp. I mean, I think the broadcast, they said it a number of times, crisp passing and back cuts, and they just run an offense. They play college basketball like what, classic good college basketball teams play, running sets. It's not just a bunch of one-on-one ball, which I think Michigan falls into a lot. They start, just playing iso ball a lot, and it's kind of hurting them. But yeah, Nebraska's good. It's crazy. Nebraska has never won an NCAA tournament game in program history. That's one of those stats in sports that's just bonkers. I know it's not like Nebraska is a traditional blue blood basketball program, but you would think at some point they had a team that at least got one tournament win.
Right.
It sure looks like they're going to get that tournament win this year. They're a good team, and they were down a couple of their players, and they went into Chrysler and, I mean, almost won. I mean, Michigan only led like a minute and a half of that game, basically. So. No, Nebraska's good. I think they're going to be a solid team. But Michigan, I'll be curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I still think they're a top 5 team. I still think they're one of the best teams and may win the Big Ten. But like I said, they fall into just one-on-one ball a lot on offense. And I don't know if it's waiting for Yaxel to do something awesome or just dump it down to Mara and hope he does. When you watch Nebraska's offense versus Michigan's, you can see it's very different. This is not a criticism. Michigan's still really good, but they've hit a little bit of a lull, but they're pulling out wins, and that's what's important. They gave Nebraska the first loss.
Yeah, I think they're Nebraska, for one, I can't wait to pick them to go far in the tournament, whether they do or not. I mean, they're just a fun team to root for, especially when they're shooting like they are. To me, it's Michigan and Michigan State. It was just great that they survived that game. I mean, it's great to just survive a top 5 game, but it kind of had that feeling like we just got to get through this game and let's head into Michigan State on Friday night with all the hype and everything surrounding that game that there will be. I am worried about Friday night. I think Michigan is a better team than Michigan State, but playing at the Breslin Center Friday night, 7:00 start. Michigan's been kind of limping, it feels like, a little bit. I mean, they're still winning a lot of their games, obviously, but it feels like they're a little bit limping into this game. Maybe Yaxel more than anybody. I don't know if he's hurt. He just seems to have come down to earth a little bit since that early season where he was looking like clear and away the best player in the country.
Mhm.
I worry about this game. The line hasn't came out yet. I was at least at time of recording when I checked, I couldn't find the line for the game. But I'll be curious to see. I would guess Michigan's probably still going to be favored on the road. Which if you're a better, I would think Michigan State is a home dog. I would love everything about that.
Oh,
But
for sure.
I'm still, it's still going to burn if Michigan does lose. I'm still going to be rooting for Michigan. It's just if gun to head, who I had have to pick in this game. Michigan State, obviously a little bit older, played together a lot longer. Michigan is still very damn good, and I think they're as good a chance as anybody to win the national championship. That's my pick to win the national championship. But Breslin Friday night, this early in the season, I still, it's a tough task.
Yeah. Well, I believe it's an 8:00 tip with Gus Johnson. I think I could be wrong, but it's going to be classic for sure. And Matt, you talked about it a little bit with Nebraska. You look at Michigan, I'd say talent wise, they probably have them by talent, but Michigan State plays better as a team. I think Michigan, as they go forward, they really got to keep featuring Trey McKinney. I mean, that 1-2 guard combination with him and Cadeau, and McKinney will get more playing time. He came up big last night with a huge hoop right down the stretch to really help give Michigan the win.
Oh, yeah. I think, and I was texting some friends during that game, and we were all kind of in agreement. It seems like, obviously, Yaxel's the guy, but it seems like McKinney, as time goes on in the season, he might become like the go-to scorer. Like when team like Nebraska last night was doubling Yaxel almost every possession, McKinney might become that guy, because the other guys, I mean, they can score, but McKinney is, you can see he can just go get a bucket. Sometimes you just need a guy. Here's the ball. Please go score. Just go get a bucket.
And he's fearless. He was firing up shots late in the game with no fear, which you got to love for a player like that. And
you can tell he's got that confidence. So as a true freshman, I know he was Mr. Basketball. Yeah, it seems like he's going to be getting more and more run. At Michigan State, I mean, you said it, Jared. They're the experience. I mean, Breslin. I mean, you're not going to be able to hear Gus Johnson call. I mean, it's going to be so loud in there. What do you guys say? I mean, we've probably talked about this a little bit. Again, texting with some friends during that game last night. Chrysler, and I mean, this is known. Chrysler just doesn't have much of a home court advantage. I mean, that was okay. I know it was a Tuesday night, and I know the weather, whatever you want to say, but it just, there wasn't. And then you flip on the Michigan State game, and they're on the road, but it's just a different when it's at Breslin, completely different vibe.
No comparison.
I mean, it's not even compared, and it's just a shame. I know people say it's the way Chrysler is laid out, and some of that other stuff, but yeah, I Breslin on a Friday night. I mean, I hope Michigan wins also. Same thing as you were saying, Jared, but I would put my money on Michigan State getting that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking even last night, like for a top 5 matchup, I was like, man, it's actually a pretty good crowd. You should never know with Michigan basketball and the crowd whether they'll show up or show out. They'll be there for Michigan State.
Right.
Anything other than that, even like on an Ohio State game, it'll be half empty sometimes. So it's such a huge advantage. I'm with you guys on Trey McKinney. I've actually been pretty pleasantly surprised. I wasn't sure what type of impact he'd have at college, just seeing how his game would translate from high school. It's a unique type of old school kind of game, I would say.
Yeah.
And he's played well. Like you said, I think he's going to keep getting more and more leash, and he's going to be kind of a key guy down the stretch, especially come March Madness. Are you guys finally know who all the players are on the Michigan team, or are you kind of like me where it's like, all right, I'm still sort of learning these guys?
Almost. I think I almost got them all.
Yeah, I think got them all, because they do still have some veterans, like Roddy Gale and Cheddar, right. Burnett. I remember Cadeau because he transfers from North Carolina, so I remember
he's got the flowing locks.
He got those flowing locks, but North Carolina fans, they weren't big Cadeau fans.
No.
So when he transferred to Michigan, it was like they were all like, "You guys have him," type of thing.
Right.
But no, I know what you're saying. That's the thing with college basketball. You just every year you have to relearn a whole roster. So
well, that's the whole difference between Michigan and Michigan State. Their whole philosophy too. Izzo wants to keep them in as long as he can in the program, and then you get a chance to see guys like, Jackson Kohler had a big game last night. He's steady as can be, and I just can't believe how good Carson Cooper has become. What is his 4th year anyway? Pretty good player.
Yeah, that's where you worry just about them mauling us on the glass and bullying us inside. And then Michigan State is so streaky when it comes to shooting, but playing at home in that environment, I mean, if a Jeremy Fears hits a big 3, like you can just see it kind of carrying him throughout the game. So that's where to me, that's why it's such a big advantage having that at home, where
Fears
they're going to be able to ride that crowd.
Fears coming into this game with the ultimate confidence coming off 29, man. I mean, that kid could play.
You know, the minute Cohen Carr throws down a ridiculous alley-oop, I mean,
that's coming.
Yeah.
That's coming probably within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll scheme up a play for it. He'll leak out in transition. I don't know. And then they'll go on a 6-8-0 run right after it. That just seems to be what those type of dunks do. It's going to be an awesome game, though. I love that it's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Usually sometimes they'll have these big games all on Saturday and they get kind of lost in the wash. But a Friday night, like you said, Gus Johnson on the call. I'm looking forward to it. Should be an absolutely awesome game.
Good way to start the weekend. Are you guys like me? I mean, Matt, you're in the business of television and college basketball. But for me, the divisional NFL playoffs ended. Now it's full-time basketball season, until we count down to the Super Bowl. We got one NFL game left, but it's hot basketball season right now. This is where I think it really starts.
It does seem like that. That's what I feel like we've said that before.
Yeah.
Like mid-January-ish is when it really starts to pick up. But kind of now, like once college football's done, we still have some NFL. Obviously, is a big deal. But now is when college basketball really picks up. This is when the good conference games start happening.
Well, this is when I watch games in their entirety, but with Michigan State, where leading up to it, I'll check in periodically, watch the end of it, whatever. But now I'm tuned in as an old guy. Speaking of basketball, fellas, before we get into some NFL talk, Pistons continue to roll. Last night beat the Nuggets in Denver. They've got a pretty critical West Coast swing with the Suns coming up tomorrow night and the Warriors on Friday. But, they're the top team in the NBA right now, man. It's just hard to believe.
Easily.
And we kind of saw it coming with all the injuries, with Indiana and, the Knicks are struggling now. It's down in the East to the Pistons and Celtics probably, isn't it?
I mean, which is crazy to say the Celtics because with no Jason Tatum, it's impressive what the Celtics are doing. But I think they're like 5.5 games up on the Celtics, who are in second place. So that's a good cushion.
Yeah.
That you don't ever want to have that 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. But if the Pistons did have something like that, they've built up a cushion at this point where they could survive a 2-3 game losing streak and still have the lead. Yeah, I mean, the East right now, the Cavs, the Raptors, the Knicks are a mess. The Heat aren't really what people thought they might be. The Bucks, Giannis just keeps getting hurt. So the East right now is kind of a little bit messy, except for the Pistons at the top. The Pistons have been steady all year. So, they should probably be the 1 seed going in and probably be the favorite to win the East going into the playoffs.
The time to win is now if you're a Pistons fan. And I'm not saying, go and make a trade for Giannis or something like that. Just don't Brad Holmes it. Don't snooze through the deadline, which Trajan Langdon won't. I mean, I thought last year's deadline acquisitions were that type of deadline, maybe get a Schroeder, get another piece. That's exactly what I'd be looking for. Yeah. So they're just an awesome team. So many guys that you like to root for. I mean, Cade Cunningham obviously is, maybe I saw he's like the number 1 trade asset in the entire NBA right now. And I think that's fair. Then you have guys like Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart, just guys who they're like, it's kind of an old school team. They play defense. They play hard. That's for sure. And it really is an unsung story. I mean, we'll be hearing about it come playoff time when they're the 1 seed about this turnaround that they really had. But think about it. 28 straight games they lost, and now 2 years later, they're the number 1 seed. You can't say it enough. I mean, Pistons fans have heard it a bunch, but that turnaround is unlike anything we've ever seen other than maybe Indiana in football with Signetti. It's truly unreal what we're watching, and it is just such a fun team to root for. So I'm excited to see what they do at the deadline.
Yeah, they got to get Little Caesars rocking a little bit more too. Get some more fans down there. Get that place to be in a home court
the
advantage.
NBA, man. The NBA is like I was there for Rockets Thunder, which is Thunder are defending champions. I went to a crummy country band concert, Treaty Oak Revival, and it was more filled for Treaty Oak Revival than it was for Rockets versus Thunder.
It's amazing.
It's a league problem. Other than the Lakers and Knicks, really, and the Thunder. It seems to be a problem across the league. Because I remember 3 years ago, I think when we had the 0-28 run, we were like still top 10 in attendance at Little Caesars Arena. It's just the NBA thing, man.
Is it mainly just lack of interest in the NBA regular season, or is it the ticket cost? I mean, would it be smarter to lower the ticket cost and maybe draw more fans?
Maybe. I don't know. You tell me. We do this podcast, and the Pistons are like the best team in the league.
Yeah.
How many games would you say you've watched? I'm not saying. Let's just use an
No, it's
example.
fair.
How many
Yeah.
games have you watched start to finish in the
Right.
NBA this year?
0.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just what is it? I mean, if this same thing was going on in the 1980s, I mean, you saw with the Bad Boys, you probably would have watched 30 games this
Right.
year.
100% right about that. You're right.
No, I think that there's a number of issues. You guys kind of talked about it. I think the price of games is a big thing. You know, if you have a family of 4, 5, 6, it's really expensive to take your whole family to a game. But that's true for even MLB or NFL, obviously. To go to a Lions game is expensive. I honestly think I think load management and just the long regular season is the biggest thing. Like if you see the Knicks and Pistons are playing on TNT or, you know, on ESPN, you're like, oh, cool. I'll tune in and watch this. And Jalen Brunson is taking the game off, and Cade Cunningham doesn't very often, but Cade Cunningham is taking a game off. That's going to turn you off, you know, or the Lakers. All of a sudden, Luka's taking a game off. You want to watch a Lakers game and Luka's not playing. LeBron isn't playing. You know, I think stuff like that is having an effect on fandom.
It's a big problem, man, especially for the fans going to the game.
But then again, the playoffs, I watch every playoff series. If there's a game on, I'm watching those
Same
games.
here.
So it's just, it's a regular season issue. I don't know. I don't really know how you solve it, to be honest, without reducing games, which I don't think they'd ever do. So this just is what it is. You follow the standings, you watch the highlights on Twitter. I mean, that's what Silver said, is that it's a highlights league. So if your top guy is saying that, why am I going to tune into these games?
Right.
Good point, man. Good point. Well, we're in a pretty good spot right now in Michigan sports, with both the Spartans, Wolverines doing so well in basketball, the Pistons, the Red Wings right there at the top as well in hockey. And our Detroit Lions need to figure it out here maybe in the next year or so, but we'll see. We'll have more on that when we get to our NFL discussion coming up here next. But I want to tell you about Blackstones Public House. They're going to be having their grand opening this coming Thursday, January 29th at 11 for lunch, and get on in there. Several of the signature dishes from the Flint restaurant, Blackstone Smokehouse, will be coming over to the new menu. Interior has a great new look with a 75-foot mural along the west wall featuring a montage of area athletes, some classic photos on that wall. Blackstone's Public House, located on the corner of Shiawassee and M21 in Corunna in the old Rivals location. They'll be open Tuesdays through Sundays. Blackstone's, the official gathering spot of 3 Point Podcast. Let's take another break, come back with a little bit of NFL talk, and then we'll finish it up with a Tedertainment Tonight right after this. All right, guys. I mean, the games are over now. The Super Bowl is set. The Patriots and the Seahawks. An interesting weekend with the Patriots and Broncos. The big hot topic in that game was take the points, go up 10-0. The weather became a major factor after that. Obviously, it's easy to backseat drive, but even at that time, most people were saying, get the points. I think I was, but what your guys' thought on that game?
I'll say the same thing that I always say when people say take the points, as if it's a given. Field goal could be missed. I always say that when I see people, just take the point, get the 3, or when like later, if they would have taken the field goal, they'd be up 2 instead of all that. And I'm like, you have no idea if the field goal is going to be made. It could be blocked and taken back the other way for points. If you make the field goal, the ensuing kickoff could be taken back to the house for a touchdown. So I just always think, like, when it's the take the points crowd, I'm like, you have no idea if the field goal would even be made, so the coach is playing. And I just try to think like the coach knows their team. Yes, there are sometimes watching Dan Campbell go for 4th downs after 4th down after 4th down. It is a little bit like, dude, come on, stop doing this.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I would argue on that, and that's fair, you got a fair point there, but at that stage of the game, to go up by 10, that the Patriots have a good quarterback. If the Broncos can just go up 10-0, I think you might see a little different. But again, it's hindsight. In that, I'm just going to that one situation. Go for the field goal.
It seems like everybody, it's swung the other way, where now it's like the risky, spicy thing to just take the 3 points. It feels like it keeps coming back to bite these teams every game. It bit the Lions all damn season.
Right.
And I'm with you. Usually you would think these coaches know their team. It felt like Dan Campbell didn't know his damn team this year.
Right.
It felt like we had the Ben Johnson offense where we're getting these 4th downs every time. It felt like we didn't get a single 4th down that we needed the entire Lions season. So I'm with you. I mean, they were so bad offensively, the Broncos. I still think the Patriots probably find a way to win that game. I mean, they were basically just draining clock the last few possessions they had and just punting it back because they knew that the Broncos couldn't do anything. One, with the weather. and 2, just because they had Jarrett Stidham at quarterback.
Right.
What did you guys think of the people who are complaining about the weather when it comes to we can't play these games in these type of climates because that was not good football? To me, at some point, it's on the players to it was embarrassing. Like Stidham, like I get it's snowing. I've never played in a snowball like that. I don't know if you guys have. It was kind of funny that the one time they took a shot deep, it was just like threw it right to Gonzalez, interception, game over. It was just such a haphazard effort. Like it was like, what? That's the number one shot you guys have deep is just tossing up basically a prayer. Maybe the weather was that bad, and it obviously was not great, but I thought that was fun to watch. I thought it was good drama, and I still think the right team won. I don't think it would have been a totally different game whether it was sunny the whole time. I still think the Patriots would have won.
Stidham must be sitting here like, I finally got my chance to play in a championship game and maybe a Super Bowl, and a blizzard comes through Denver. He's probably like, dude, of course. He's not going to make those excuses. But yeah, I'm always one. It's fun as a fan to watch those games in snow. But, when people say like, this is football weather, I'm like, this isn't football weather. We want it to be like 60 and overcast and, like just a nice normal day for these guys to be able to let it rip all over the field. It's fun as a fan to watch that, but you can't, no, that's the stadium that Denver has. So you're not going to schedule these games only in domes in the playoffs or, something. No, that's just how it's played out. If Denver wanted to build a new stadium and put a dome in, oh, okay, I guess, but no, that's where their home field advantage is. So
it's a great equalizer, the weather like that. That's for sure. I mean, if you put them in a dome, the better team more times than not is going to win. But you never know in a weather condition like that who's going to pull it out. It was fun to watch. I always enjoy those games back in the old days before domes. I mean, some of my favorite games to watch were the ones in the quagmires, man. Right, seeing the uniforms all mudded up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can have offense in snow. I mean, we remember the game that the Eagles and Lions with Stafford and Megatron. Stafford was throwing it all over. There was that one play where Megatron gets up,
right,
and his whole face mask is full of snow. There was a game when Randy Moss was on the Patriots. They had a game in like a blizzard like that, and Brady was still dropping dimes to Randy Moss for long touchdowns. So it's not like you can't score in the snow. You can. I think the Broncos offense was pretty limited. Have you guys seen the stuff with the Patriots laying out like people trying to say this is going to be a Mickey Mouse championship if they do? Because I think I saw 11 of their wins have been against teams with fired head coaches who eventually fired their head coaches. They laid out, they've only played like 2 games against teams with winning records, or they played They played CJ Stroud in the playoffs. They just played Jarrett Stidham.
Right.
People have been just laying out their whole season, and I saw someone actually do an edit with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the cartoon. You guys may not know this, but they did a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse edit with like their schedule, and that was pretty clever. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe there's something to that, but you can only play who's on your schedule, and they're in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
I would take that as a Lions fan any day.
Any day.
It kind of makes you think like, wow, they made this look easy. Like, and you're the Lions, we've been banging our head against the wall for 70 years. I mean, never made a Super Bowl one time. They rebuild in 6 years, and yeah, it is an easy schedule. It's just but there is no easy schedule in the NFL. I mean, the Texans knew that Stidham was going to be the quarterback in the upcoming game for the Broncos. They couldn't beat the Patriots, so they've done it. I mean, I don't know how. Vrabel deserves Coach of the Year. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna be kind of a little bit of a lackluster Super Bowl. I mean, it'll be somewhat fun. People are like, oh, it's a rematch. Like, I don't know if that really even matters. It's 2 totally different teams, coaches, everything involved with the 2 teams. So I don't care too much about that. But the Sam Darnold story on the other side with the Seahawks is, I mean, it's unreal. Our podcast, how we go, what does the Sam Darnold conversation do to the Jared Goff conversation on this podcast? Does that change anything?
Yes, Matt.
The Sam Darnold thing is crazy because he's been cast off obviously so many teams, and sometimes when you watch him, he doesn't seem all that like special, if you want to use that word. He doesn't seem all that great, but he wins. I mean, he won last year with the Vikings, and they sent him off, and now he's in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks. I think he's on his 5th team, or is it his 6th team? Either way, it's 5th or 6th team.
Yeah, a lot.
So it's just that story is crazy. I mean, I don't know. I don't
He's
need
a
to
solid
give more,
NFL quarterback.
I don't need to give
I mean,
more
he's
thoughts
solid.
on Jared Goff, but yeah, he's a solid quarterback. Yep.
Yeah, I do have I one thought. I had a couple thoughts on the game. One of them has to do with the broadcasters, and one of them was Tom Brady late in the game. I love Brady. I think he's really come on to be a top analyst. But he made the comment in that last stretch, the Seahawks had the ball before they gave it up to the Rams, and he said, you know, you need to run it 3 times here. You need to not have Sam Darnold make a mistake. And I actually said it to my wife. I said, that's bullshit. You got to play to win the game. And when they ran that rollout to the left and he completed that pass,
That was impressive.
Hell yes. That's how you play football right there. That's how you do it.
That was ballsy to see them do that, but it just kept working. I mean, and that's where Darnold plays how he played in that game in the Super Bowl. It's not even going to be. It's the Seahawks. They've already won it.
Yeah.
300. What do you have? 346 yards, 3 touchdowns. Played like basically perfect. I'm with you. Those were some ballsy calls by Mike McDonald, who you know, a lot of Michigan fans thought we were going to pry him mid-season from a Super Bowl run to become a Michigan coach. I don't know if that was realistic at all. It wasn't. No. But it would have been nice to have him as Michigan's coach. Maybe almost makes you wonder, man, maybe if they would have had a really bad year this year, if they don't get Sam Darnold, if they run it back with Geno Smith, maybe we could have poached that guy. Probably not still, but yeah, it was. I'm with you. The decision making down the stretch to go and win that game, like you said, it was actually pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, and if Stafford would have had 30 more seconds, it would have gone the other way. You know?
Yeah, you could just tell the way that he was connecting with Nakua, and I mean, he was that was a quarterback duel. I mean, him versus Darnold. It was a fun game to watch, and I mean, they had with about 5 minutes left, the Rams were inside the 10, and that's one of those where I think they went like pass, and then, you know, incomplete on 4th down. You would have liked to see him run a couple times, whether with Blake Corum or whoever. But the way that Stafford's dialed in, I mean, it feels like with Devontae Adams and Nakua, it feels like if you just do pass plays, they're going to score. Like one of these is going to connect, and they didn't. But yeah, at least on paper, I don't know if Jared or if you guys have seen the line. It seems like the Seahawks, everyone's probably going to be picking the Seahawks.
6.5, 7. What's the line? What is the line? Do you know?
I thought 4.5.
4.5.
Okay, I'll check it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots defense is legit, so maybe that's coming into play. But the Seahawks just look like a juggernaut right now, especially with the way that Sam Darnold's playing.
Yep,
yeah, 4.5.
4.5. Interesting.
Over under 46.5 points. So,
well, let's hope for a good game. Let's hope for a better game than the Pro Bowl flag football with Shedeur Sanders on the squad. What the hell is that all about? It's just, I saw Dan Patrick had something online, and it made sense. It's a TV production, man. Why would he be a Pro Bowler, for God's sake?
Right. Well, it was well deserved, man. It's well deserved. Well, you look down the line, it's because they're all hurt. All the quarterbacks are hurt. The Pro Bowl is already kind of a joke.
It is.
Screw it. Might as well send Shedeur to it. Like you said, nobody was talking about the Pro Bowl until Shedeur gets named in it, and now we're talking about it.
And now people might watch because they might be like, I want to see him play.
You know, I get that. I probably won't watch it. I'll see the highlights, but it still, to me, holds a good designation. Hey, I made the Pro Bowl, and Shedeur Sanders made the Pro Bowl. Come on. I mean, it's supposed to be for the best of the best, but that's the way it is. I got another thought process. Well, 2 actually. I'll start with this one. What are your thoughts about Bill Belichick getting snubbed out of the HOF?
I'm becoming more and more. I'm already salty on any pro basketball, or it's not the pro basketball. It's just the Basketball Hall of Fame. They seem to get it. The Basketball Hall of Fame seems to be legit, but the MLB and the NFL, I don't understand like the stances people take on holding guys out for a year. Like that's what people are saying with Bill Belichick, that, you know, he didn't get in because of Spygate, Deflategate, some of these little scandals that happened with the Patriots. He should have to wait a year. This is like his, you know, paying his penance, you know, whatever. And it's like, what are we doing? I forget who it is. One of the reporters said something like, Hall of Fames are supposed to be like, one of the ways that they word it is like, if you talk about the history of that sport, baseball, basketball, football, whatever, if you talk about the history of that sport, and you can't talk about the history without this person, then, you know, they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You can't talk about the NFL and the history of the Super Bowl without Bill Belichick. I mean, he's genuine. He's literally, Jimmy Johnson came out and said Jimmy Johnson thinks Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in, you know, football history. And some of these other people have been saying the same thing. For him to not get in on his first time, it really, because it's a Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, people are saying like, well, what the heck is going on in North Carolina? It's like, that has nothing to do with it. This is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dude has more Super Bowl. I mean, him not being in is such a joke.
If you're first ballot, who gets in, right? I mean, come on.
Right.
I've been hearing the report that Bill Polian, I guess, was a big factor in keeping him out. It's ridiculous. The Hall of Fames have become kind of a sham. I mean, Bill Belichick, he's had a lot of and I actually saw a good tweet. Basically, it's like, this was the best thing that could have happened for Bill Belichick's like PR. He's been having terrible PR the last like 2 years, it seems like. You have this come out, everybody goes, oh no, Bill Belichick's awesome, he deserves to be in. It's people are kind of swinging and defending Bill Belichick, where it feels like he's been kind of by himself ever since the girlfriend and North Carolina and all that. So he'll get in. It's comical that the people like just that the power that like Bill Polian, like I imagine him in this room telling everybody don't vote him in. Like what type of weird power goes to your mind where how does nobody in the and there's a reason that leaked, because there's probably somebody like, you know, us sitting in that room going, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Right.
Spygate and all this other crap. It's like, dude, it's ridiculous. Spygate was an eternity ago. I don't even why does it not affect any of the players? Why would that only come down on Belichick? It makes no sense. So
we'll never be able to understand these NFL owners and what goes through their mind. That's a whole different level of nuttiness for sure. I got one final thing on the NFL, and I saw somebody post it, but I was actually thinking this kind of a drinking game. And I love Tom Brady, but if I hear him say twitchiness one more time, he must have said it. I don't know what the actual number is.
I didn't notice
6 or 7 times in the game.
It's funny you say that, because I did notice that it was on like back-to-back possessions. Devontae Adams had like a where he had a big catch, and then I think that's when he caught that touchdown. And on back-to-back replays, he did say twitchiness like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, and I did kind of catch that too. So maybe that's something he studied in his film study.
Had to be. Anyway, he's one of the best for sure. And then on the other side of the coin, Tony Romo, take a drink every time he's in a game where he says, "You're exactly right, Jim. You're exactly right, Jim." Just a couple observations.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Who's
it's Tirico and Collinsworth.
Oh, it's NBC. Oh, okay, yeah. Good. So that'll be. I mean, I don't know. What do you get? Seems like Collinsworth. People have soured on him. I still like Tirico and Collinsworth.
I do too. I still like both of them.
Yeah, they're good. They're all the booths are good. I mean, even Tony Romo is now. It's almost good in a weird way where you're like, what is he going to say now?
Exactly.
So. And it's funny how quick it changes, man. He was the top guy. I mean, he got paid $1 billion, whatever that was, 3-4 years ago, when everybody was infatuated with Romo. So they'll turn on Brady. I already feel like people have kind of turned on Herb Street. It's just turn on everybody. Yeah. So,
well, it's kind of funny. You talked about it last week. You know, Romo, when he first came in, he was fresh out of the league, basically. So he was on top of everything and all the terminology and everything that goes behind the scenes. Same thing with Brady. He's still relatively, shortly removed from being a player. We'll see what happens a few more years down the road, but I think he'll continue the excellence. That's just Tom Brady. Sure. All right, let's take one final break here and wrap it up with a short Tedertainment Tonight right after this. All right, guys, I'll just start with one. I can't believe I was late for this one. You know, I'm a big HBO Max guy, and everything, any good shows they put out there is well done, but I can't believe I hadn't seen The Pit. Have you guys heard of that one?
I've seen
Noah Wiley.
Yep.
It's just an outstanding show. 15 episodes for season 1. We haven't started season 2 yet, but we completed season 1. I won't give any spoiler alerts, but I will say the premise, I really like it. It starts out, it's one day in the emergency room, and each episode is the next hour. So it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. The second episode's 8 o'clock in the morning. Different cases they see. The actors are just tremendous in it. The writing's well done, and it's so well done it makes you queasy. You have to look away sometimes because they're dealing with humans and cutting into them and all that. But it's a 3-point on the 3-point scale. Pit on HBO. I mean, highly recommend watching that.
How many seasons in are they? You said season 2, but
they're just season 2's out, and HBO is one of those where you have to tune in every week. So I think it's like 6 episodes in. We haven't started yet. We might wait a couple more weeks till we can kind of binge it. But yeah, 2 seasons so far.
Yeah, so that's easy to catch up on. If it was 7 seasons in, you know what I would say. I'm not catching up on it. I have seen the promos for it. It looks good.
It's outstanding.
And if it's on HBO, we know. We always say if it's on HBO, you know it's going to be good.
Yep. I still can't get over their whole marketing. Remember when they changed the name to Max. And now it's HBO Max. When you're a marketer, and I think we talked about this before too, how could you have a better name than HBO? Why would you think you have to rebrand that? Home box office, man. They're the original, man. Real dumb.
I mean, it's just like Twitter going to X. Everybody's still going to call it HBO. It would be probably 10, 15 years before it sheds that name. Right. So same thing with HBO. I guess I'm glad that they went back to HBO Max, but still, I would even say, why is it HBO Max? Why is it not just HBO? It's just stupid. So I'm with you on that.
How about you, Matt? You saw a couple things.
Yeah, I'll just mention one since we're running a little long. We watched a couple documentaries or shows on Netflix. There's one, Secret Mall Apartment. I don't know if you guys have seen this on Netflix.
I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and it definitely piqued my interest. So we watched it. It was really good. It's about an hour and a half. It's a one episode, or it's a single alone episode documentary. It's so to not spoil too much for you, but it's called Secret Mall Apartment. It's this group of artists in Providence, Rhode Island, back in like the early 2000s. They go into the background of Providence and, the art scene and gentrification. And when I didn't know about this mall, it's called like the Providence Place Mall, that was built to try and revitalize the downtown of Providence, bring business. And it's this enormous mall that was built. And obviously there was pushback because of, again, the gentrification and, bringing in business that people didn't want. And it was pushing people out of some of their homes. So it gets into a little bit of that backstory. But basically what it is, this group of artists, they find this dead space in the mall. And they essentially build an apartment in this dead space in the mall and live in it for like 4 or 5 years. And it goes through that whole process, how they build it, how they make it happen, and some of the other projects that they do. So it's one of those, it's an easy watch. It's entertaining. The artists, they talk to the people who lived in it. It's funny to hear their stories and stuff. So
give away one thing. So they lived there 5 years. How did they go in and out of their apartment? How did they get in?
So that they found a couple like essentially back alley ways to get in and out. And they fully furnish it. And I don't want to give away too many. It's like I said, it's like an hour and a half. It's fun. It's a fun one to watch.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah.
How about you, Jared? You've been too busy. I see you got a nice hat there, man. You've already got into the gear. It's awesome.
I was checking that hat out too. That's nice.
Yeah, it's we did there was like a fan fest thing at Dyken Park, basically, which I don't know why the Tigers don't do those anymore. I thought it was honestly pretty awesome. Basically, the entire team's there. They have like a garage. Like this hat, I got it for like $7.
Oh wow!
So I was like, all right, I'll just snag that. $7. It's easy. So, honestly, there's one movie that I watched a long time ago, but it is worth. It's still like I don't even think it's on streaming yet. Really, that's Eternity with Miles Teller. Callum Turner, and I should know the female actress. She's in like Avengers. She's Scarlet Witch, like in Avengers. I'll look that up. Anyway, basically the plot of this movie is this old couple dies, and when basically Eternity in this movie is you pick one partner that you go with, and you live in a certain eternity forever, and you can't ever change it. And basically what happens is the female lead actress, her husband Callum Turner died in like the Korean War, and he's been waiting in eternity for her to come. Basically, his like for the last 50 years, she remarried, spent 50 years with Miles Teller, and basically it's like these two guys are dueling to try to go like live in eternity with this lead actress. And honestly, you laugh during it, you cry during it. Got a great message. Really, just like freaking well done. It was one of the top movies I saw this year.
It's funny you mentioned. It's funny you mentioned that, Jared. I think you texted us or something somewhere along the line. I caught wind of that, the title Eternity. So I went online and called it up, and my wife and I are watching it, and we're going, this is what he was talking about. It was like a Lifetime movie called Eternity from 2017. There's 2 different ones.
Yeah,
2 different.
I saw that too on the app. Yeah. So you choose. How long did you get into that movie for?
Half hour, and we bailed. We said this can't be it. This just cannot be it.
You must not have caught wind like Miles Teller. You didn't see that he
you
probably is
know,
not in the lifetime.
some of
one.
those things blow past
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
I didn't. You're right.
That'd be an easy sell to my wife. Miles Teller in that.
He's good.
Just
I
tell
like
her
him.
that he's in that movie. Yeah, he's a good actor. That's why. Yep.
Well, this is me and my cheapness. You know, I clicked out of it, and then I went to find the one you were talking about. And it's not on free streaming yet. You got to pay for it or rent it.
Right.
So I said, I'll wait a while.
Yeah. Yep. Have you guys seen?
The way
So
I view that is.
go ahead,
Go
Jared.
ahead. No, the way I view that is, it's like it's a night of entertainment. That's
Yeah.
how I view it. Like
Right.
whatever, $20, $15 rental, and you go to the theater, it's like a $60 excursion. I'm like,
Right.
you know, and I'm with you. I probably need to be smarter with my money. That isn't as much as a barrier as that used to be. Like I remember when I was a kid, we always want to rent a movie like at my parents' house, and it'd be like a $3.99 rental, and it was like you would have thought it was $1 million to rent these movies. And so I think maybe that's just where, because of that, growing up with that my whole life, where it was like a very special occasion where we got to rent one. Now I'm just like, screw it. Like it's $20.
Oh, yeah.
I can rationalize basically this is our, you know, Sunday afternoon, or this is our Saturday night or whatever. Like, let's just watch this movie. That's how I rationalize it.
No, and that makes sense, and that's definitely for sure a generational thing, without a doubt.
Yeah.
On top of the fact I pay enough for my damn TV, I don't need to add on to it for a $20 bill. But I get it. If you really want to watch something, it's going to be cheaper than going to the theater, without a doubt.
I definitely remember the movie rentals when you would watch that thing like 6 times, because it was like we have this for 2 nights.
Right.
You better watch it over and over until we have to take it back.
All right. Well, good stuff, guys. Good podcast. A lot of fun as always. We're brought to you by the Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Memorial Healthcare was recently recognized as one of the country's best healthcare workplaces by American Magazine Newsweek. Congrats. Well done by Memorial and their over 1,800 employees. We also want to thank AZee Branding Solutions, ALS of Michigan, Blackstones Public House, Great Lakes Apparel Company. Back to Blackstones for a minute. Their grand opening is this coming Thursday, whatever date that is, the 29th. So get on over there. Also want to thank Great Lakes Apparel Company, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Nichols Painting, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the Shiawassee County Fair, and we appreciate every one of them. They make it possible for us to gather every week to do this podcast. Also, the next Z92.5 Game of the Week coming up this Friday night, January 30th, 2026, 7 o'clock, Durand at Ovid Elsie. And guys, just giving you a heads up warning right now, I am definitely watching the Michigan State game in its entirety, but I'm filling in for Casey. So text silence on this Friday night, as I'll be checking in a little later. So I'll be filling in for Casey. Looking forward to breaking out the old play-by-play vocals for a change.
Nice. You guys aren't going to do little, you know, how you listen to a broadcast like Michigan State is up 21-20 right now. You're not going to do anything.
No,
like that?
not going to do any partial scores. Nope,
Okay.
Not going to do it. Joe might be looking at his phone and seeing it, but not me, man.
Yeah.
I'm coming home to watch it all. All right. Also want to thank our special guest, Jeff Kimberly of the MHSAA. Got a lot of good information from him and the folks over there in Lansing. And as we always say, peace and love, everybody. Man, be kind out there. Thanks for listening.